With Rejoin specifically, I've always been on an antidepressant for many years and I've tried so many, a lot of trial and error, and I do talk therapy and have since I was 19 years old. This is so different where I am doing these brain training exercises. I had no clue that a big part of my depression was what Dr. Jan talked about. I didn't know the reasons why it was so hard for me to learn how to process and regulate my emotions. And I think that has given me more confidence in knowing I'm going to use this tool for a reason. Because a lot of times with depression, we just don't really know what we're doing or the purpose, and it's all intimidating. And it feels easy because it's on my phone, and I have no excuse. My phone is always with me.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marx from GoToHealth. I hope you're having a great day. Depression affects around 21 million adults in the US, yet many adults with major depressive disorder, or MDD, still struggle with symptoms even with treatment. For mental health advocate Kelly Uchima, she knows the experience firsthand. She's openly shared her own journey with depression and the daily realities of managing mental health. Her lived experience reflects what many adults with MDD face: persistent symptoms, emotional setbacks, and difficulty maintaining routines even while in treatment. Clinicians like Dr. Sandra Jain, a licensed psychotherapist with more than 30 years of clinical experience, see these same challenges in practice and recognize an ongoing need for integrated, accessible approaches to care, including a newer approach, prescription digital therapeutics, designed to complement traditional treatment methods. Major depressive disorder is a clinical form of depression that does not look like a single bad day. It can show up as weeks of exhaustion, loss of interest, and difficulty keeping up at work, home, or in relationships. But as we're learning, treating depression takes more than just a pharmaceutical that may bring your brain back into chemical balance. We now have technology which can help with symptoms. And let me tell you about Meet Rejoyn. It's an app that helps patients with depression manage their depression from the simplicity of their phone. You can learn more at meetrejoyn.com. That's meet, M-E-E-T, Rejoyn, R-E-J-O-Y-N, R-E-J-O-Y-N, meetrejoyn.com. And before we get to Kelly Uchima and Dr. Sandra Jain, let me ask you to visit our website at gotohealthmedia.com, where you can see all our shows. If you're watching or listening to us on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps more people get the word out. Thanks in advance. So, welcome to the show, Dr. Sandra Jain and Kelly Uchima. How are you both today?
Great. So glad to be with you.
Thank you for having us.
Good. My pleasure. So tell us, and you can each do this, what is major depressive disorder and how does it differ from everyday stress or sadness?
Yeah, great question. So major depressive disorder is a chronic and persistent condition. And in clinical practice, we sometimes see patients with persistent symptoms that will last for weeks at a time. Symptoms may include fatigue, exhaustion, loss of interest in pleasurable activities, even challenges with sleep. It's important to keep in mind that it impacts patients in a global way. That is important to remember. And when we ask about how is it different than maybe just a regular stressful day, I'm going to turn to you, Kelly, because as a person with lived experience, I'd love to hear you speak to this.
I think the distinguishing between the two was very confusing for me when I first got diagnosed with depression when I was 19. I had this belief that I was just weaker than other people when it came to stress and sadness, but knowing that there was a name for this, I could start to carve a path of treatment and tool finding for myself.
Got it. And doctor, you mentioned that it has a global effect. What did you mean when you said global?
Well, that it impacts a person not only in an individual way, but it impacts their relationship with their friends, their family, their coworkers, impacts work, family, education, and their community at large.
Got it. Thank you. So many adults continue to experience depression symptoms even while in treatment. So what contributes to this and what gives you optimism about where care is headed?
Yeah. So standard of care in the world of major depressive disorder involves antidepressant treatments and or in combination with psychotherapy. The good news is that standard of care helps many people. They do get better. But there are also people who only have a partial response to these treatment options. So when you ask about where does the excitement come in this space, in the landscape of mental health, I have to tell you, it's in the world of prescription digital therapeutics. This is an emerging field. It's based in evidence, which gives us a lot of confidence when we offer it to our patients as another possible treatment option.
So prescription digital treatments, what do you mean when you say that? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, great question. So the difference, and know this, that many of my patients, many of the people that I know, we don't really understand the difference between a prescription digital therapeutic and a wellness app. And the real difference is a prescription digital therapeutic is based in evidence. It's been studied in randomized clinical trials. So again, it gives us that confidence to recommend it. And actually, Kelly and I are here today on behalf of Rejoyn, which is a specific prescription digital therapeutic. It is FDA authorized for the treatment of the symptoms of MDD for somebody just like you, Kelly, who's 22 years of age or over, who's already taking an antidepressant. It's important to remember it's not standalone. It's a complement to what the person is already doing.
So is this an app or is it a medication? I'm still not quite sure.
Basically, I open my phone, which I always have with me, and it looks like an app. You open it, it functions as an app, and there are many therapy lessons as well as brain training exercises. And I love that Rejoyn kind of calls it physical therapy for your brain, because I really thought that my depression was just based on chemical imbalances, but there's so much more to that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kelly, there's lots of science how they've studied Rejoyn as an example. And so we know in the world of depression that there is such a thing as chemical imbalances, but there's more to it than that. We're learning lots more. There is this concept of neuroplasticity. And it's also a message of hope that the brain is able to change, and how important for patients to really know that and hear it from us. So Rejoyn was studied specifically looking at these specific regions, these neural connections in the brain, the thinking part of the brain, prefrontal cortex, the feeling part of the brain. And what we are understanding is that it may actually help treat and reduce the symptoms of major depression and thereby improving outcomes.
Wow, that's incredible. So let me tell people where they can go to learn more. It's meetrejoyn.com. And let me spell that. It's meet, M-E-E-T, and then rejoyn, which is R-E-J-O-Y-N. R-E-J-O-Y-N, meetrejoyn.com. So Kelly, as someone who's shared her mental health journey openly, what are you most excited about when it comes to changing the conversation about mental health?
I'm so grateful that it has become so much more normalized, because growing up, I had no one to talk to about this stuff. I grew up in a household where we didn't talk about feelings or deep emotions, anything that was stressful. I had nowhere to turn to. And now we're having such a surge of confidence in talking about this. And I love that so much research has been put to this, because I have been struggling for so long, but I'm finally finding the tools for myself, and it feels really good.
Good. And how long have you had this tool, and what kind of, effect has it had on your life?
Well, with Rejoyn specifically, I've always been on an antidepressant for many years, and I've tried so many, a lot of trial and error, and I do talk therapy and have since I was 19 years old. This is so different, where I am doing these brain training exercises. I had no clue that a big part of my depression was what Dr. Jain talked about. I didn't know the reasons why it was so hard for me to learn how to process and regulate my emotions. And I think that has given me more confidence in knowing I'm going to use this tool for a reason. Because a lot of times with depression, we just don't really know what we're doing or the purpose, and it's all intimidating, and it feels easy because it's on my phone and I have no excuse. My phone is always with me.
Yes, got it. Good. So, you're really kind of opening my mind, and I'm so glad we're talking about this. I've always thought of depression, not that I've experienced it, but it's really just a chemical imbalance. And what you do is you take a medication to bring your brain into more balance. But what you're telling me, there are a lot more exercises people can do to make your brain, I guess, more healthy. Doctor, you mentioned neuroplasticity. Can you describe that a little bit more?
Of course, neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change. Now, the brain changes pretty quickly as when we're young, but as we age, it slows down a little bit, but change is still possible. And so the brain training exercises that Kelly mentioned and the CBT lessons, the skill-based lessons, those are designed to strengthen that communication, specific brain regions that we talked about, the thinking and feeling parts. Mm-hmm. And the belief is that better communication actually may reduce the symptoms of MDD.
Got it. And you mentioned CBT, which I understand is cognitive behavioral therapy. Can you describe that more, either or both of you? It looks like you're both nodding yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love that you also know what that stands for. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Open, rejoin. I love them because I have a short attention span, and these mini CBT lessons are beautifully animated and make you feel really seen and heard in a non-intimidating way. Mm-hmm. And they are skill-based. So it really applies to normal everyday things. One of the lessons that always really stuck with me is there was an animation. There's cute little characters in different colors. And it was this animation person with a dark cloud over their head. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel. And it showed that little character doing different actions, taking action, even though that character was feeling a lot of different ways. There are ways that we can feel empowered to do something different despite how dark we may feel on a given day.
This really is about baby steps, right?
I love baby steps.
Me too. It's not about perfection, right? It's about practice.
Right. So, doctor, can you describe more about what CBT actually is, cognitive behavioral therapy?
Well, you know what I would do is, I think Kelly did such a beautiful job, but I will tell you this about CBT because that's probably an entirely different interview. But CBT is the most studied and researched form of psychotherapy available to clinicians. So we have a lot of confidence in CBT being part of Rejoyn as far as the CBT skill-based lessons. But I would do this, and Kelly, I think you would join me. We would invite all of your viewers to visit the website. Find out if Rejoyn is really something that is for you, where you're at in your own journey. And you may want to do a virtual consult, learn more about safety, efficacy, everything you ever wanted to know. And that website, meetrejoyn.com that we mentioned, please visit. We're happy to say that there's a discount code for those who are interested, and it is Rejoyn26.
Great. Oh, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Rejoyn 26. And again, Rejoyn is REJOYN. So both of you, are there any questions I haven't asked that I should have, or what kind of big message would you each like to leave with people today?
Well, I would say this. You've covered it beautifully. My one thing I would say is depression is real. Ask for help. Do not try to do this alone. Kelly?
You're not broken, and we really aren't meant to do it alone, and you do not have to.
Good. Thank you both so much. This has been very inspiring and very informative. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So glad to be with you.
Good. We've been talking with Kelly Uchima. She's a passionate Asian American mental health advocate and wellness content creator who was named, get this, Health and Wellness Influencer of the Year by Influence Agency in 2023. Through her platform and speaking engagements, she's dedicated to breaking down mental health stigma and making conversations about well-being more open and accessible, especially for young women. And Dr. Sandra Jain, PsyD, is a licensed professional counselor with more than 3 decades of experience in psychotherapy, wellness research, and mental health education. She's worked with individuals living with depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, PTSD, and ADHD, with a strong focus on differential diagnosis and clinical management of complex psychiatric conditions. Again, thanks both of you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. This has been Jonathan Marks. Remember, you can visit our website at GoToHealthMedia.com, where you can see all our shows. We've created over 270 interviews. They're all evidence-based. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps get the word out to more people. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. This has been Jonathan Marks with GoToHealth. And as we say at the end of every show, go to health. God bless. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Thank you for tuning in today to Go to Health. You are one of almost 10,000 people per day who enjoy the evidence-based health information offered by our guest health experts. You can watch us on our website and YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks in our upcoming shows each week. If you like our show, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can subscribe to the show, join our email list, send us feedback, browse through the online store, and view our library of over 150 shows at GoToHealthMedia.com. See you next time, and remember to elevate your life with GoToHealth.